Today, I'm super excited to have the testimony of a very special guest. She is a subscriber from this YouTube channel, which makes it so exciting to share a success story testimonial with you all. She's going to call here very shortly, and I'm going to put it on speakerphone, and hopefully you'll still be able to hear well enough, even though I'm using my phone and it's going to be on speaker. So before we jump into it, if you're new here, I would love if you subscribe. We talk all about gut health and my personal experience with ulcerative colitis. So subscribe, hit that little bell button so you don't miss any notifications. And now let's jump into JoAnne's testimony. All right, well, thanks a lot for sharing your testimony with everybody here on my YouTube channel. So I'm just gonna let it up to you, whatever you feel like sharing. If you wanna start from the way beginning, share some of the problems you had, health issues you struggled with. Yeah, whatever you feel like sharing with everyone.
Okay. Well, it all started about 20 years ago. I was getting really sick and having stomach issues. Went to the doctor, and after a series of tests, I was diagnosed with Crohn's. Again, this was 20 years ago. They gave me like a bunch of medication. They had like a cocktail of medication, including things for acid reflux, and they even went as far as giving me muscle relaxers to help with headaches and pain, because it's this thing of one medication does this, but you have to take this other medication to counteract some other stuff. I mean, it was crazy. And after a month of that, my body couldn't handle it. I started throwing up. It was awful. I told the doctors, no, I need to stop this. It's easier for me to live with Crohn's than it is to live with what all these medications are doing to me. So I did it, believing that God would heal me. And about 10 years into it, it happened. The Lord healed me. And I knew I was healed. During that time, I discovered that papaya enzymes would help settle my stomach. But it just settled my stomach. It didn't do anything else for me.
Okay.
I was still having all the crazy bowel movement and all that comes with Crohn's. Then, about 5 years ago, I had to have major surgery. And part of the testing included making sure that my Crohn's was under control. So when I knew I had been healed, so when I went in there and they did all the testing, again, the camera, the probes, everything else, it came back that I didn't have Crohn's anymore. I knew that.
Right.
So, and in between that major surgery and the time I was healed, my life was pretty normal. Everything was pretty good. And then I had the surgery, and about 4 months later, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I'm like, okay, we went to the doctor, we went through all this stuff, and I'm like, why am I all of a sudden getting this type 2 diabetes? And this was my third major surgery that I've had throughout, my life. And the doctors explained to me that sometimes when your body goes through too many dramas, it can set this diabetes or other diseases, other long-term diseases. So I'm like, okay. They gave me medication, but one of the side effects from the medication is giving you more bowel movement.
Oh, that's not fun.
On top of, yeah, I know. Then on top of that, because I was getting way too many, that I went back to the doctor, they went and did all the testing, and they said, oh, yeah, by the way, you have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. I'm like, oh, great. And this is why I went to the doctor, is because my bowel movements went from, prior to surgery, your normal 3 times a day, to 7, 12 times in a day.
Oh, my.
I mean, it got to the point, if I was going to leave my house, I had to plan it. I had to be careful what I ate the night before. I had to be careful of where I went, and I had to make sure that restrooms were available.
I know about that.
It was awful. I mean, going to the grocery store, instead of taking your hour, maybe hour and a half, it was easily way more than, 2.5, 3 hours for me, because I would have to stop in the middle of it and look at my son or look at my husband, whoever was with me. Here, hold my cart. Let me go to the bathroom. And this is kind of funny. I can tell you, I live 45 minutes from the major city, and it's where I shop. I can tell you what restroom from here, from my home to there, is cleaner. What fast foods has the cleanest restroom? What major retail stores? I mean, it was serious. It was. I mean, I can tell you what bathroom to go to. And on top of that, in both my vehicles, what I call my bathroom kit. And in that bathroom kit, I always have disposable gloves, Clorox wipes, Lysol, and toilet paper.
Yeah, it's a good kit to have along.
Yes, in my purse, I would keep everything but the toilet paper.
Okay.
Because, you can't hold it. I mean, it sounds kind of nasty, but I couldn't hold it. It was like I would go or I would go.
Exactly.
So I sometimes had to spend time cleaning the stuff, putting a bunch of toilet paper on it, and then going for it.
Yeah, it's bondage.
It is. It is. You develop a very healthy relationship with a restroom.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Again, I went through all that, and about 6 months ago, right before Christmas, I noticed a change on my bowel movement, and what happened was a lot of mucus was starting to come out when I wasn't sick. By the end of the day, blood was coming out.
Wow.
So many times during the day, blood was coming out. I never had, in the last 5 years, a firm bowel movement. But these became so bright, and again, it sounds gross, but so extreme that I started getting concerned, especially when the heavy mucus and the coloring and the blood started to play in. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I know what the doctors are going to tell me. You healed me once, you can heal me again, whichever way that may look like.
Right.
At that point, I started listening to some of your experiences with colostrum. You created around, and I may be a little bit off on the timing of this, but you created your channel, A Gut Feeling. And I was one of your first subscribers.
Okay. Very interesting.
And it was like this, you started talking, it was like, I just felt the Lord saying, here it is. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I don't believe in coincidences. And I'm like, I'm going to believe this is you speaking to me, so I'm going to try this. And I did. I first ordered a small container, the 6 ounce, I believe it is, just because I didn't want to spend a tremendous amount of money and not it worked, because that had been my experience. So I went ahead and tried it, and within the first 24 hours, I noticed a difference.
Wow. That was quick.
By a week, my family started to notice a difference. Like, it would be early. I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go do this. And then we were doing that, and I wasn't having to say, yeah, hold on, take me to a restroom. Or, oh, yeah, hold on, I got to go to the restroom.
Well, that's incredible.
So, I mean, it was night and day.
That was good.
Go ahead.
No, that's just incredible, because results like that don't usually happen quite that quickly. I mean, it did for me as well, it seemed to, but yeah, it's just incredible.
Again, by a week of me taking it, my family I hadn't told them, and they noticed the difference.
That's amazing.
It wasn't just me noticing it, they were noticing that I wasn't going, hold on, I got to go to the restroom. Now, with that, what I call side effects, which are great side effects. Like I told you before, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I was having problems from the beginning with what doctors call the dawn effect. I was going to bed with a normal glucose index number, but I was waking up with 135, 139, 140.
Okay.
On my glucose level. That's not an ideal number for a diabetic. And the doctors told me, well, that's called the dawn effect, and what it is, I guess, something about your body getting ready and producing more for your upcoming day. We were trying to kind of normalize it, because, again, being a diabetic, it's not a good thing. And with this, taking colostrum, I started noticing about maybe 2.5 weeks into it, that when I was checking my glucose levels in the morning, they started to be 101, 105.
Wow, that's a big drop.
It's a big drop. I mean, right now, the highest it's ever been since I started this is 107. And when that happened, I was like, yay. Because and I had, I'm careful with what I eat, but I had family over, so I had made some cake, and I had eaten this cake late at night. And
that's just amazing that you can even cheat like that now and again and still have good readings on your sugar levels. That I think I've heard of someone else that said their dad had gotten help with it, with his levels too. So that's really interesting. I'm excited for you.
And then another thing that happened that I noticed is my heart rate. I always had great blood pressure, but we were struggling, I was struggling, and I was working with doctors to lower my heart rate, because that can also be, dangerous. And again, because my experiences with regular medications have not been the greatest, I was really trying hard to do it in a way that I didn't have to take medication. But since I started with the colostrum, again, one of those side effects is, and I'm not saying this is going to be the same for everybody, it's just what happened to me. I went from heart rate between 101, 105, 111 to 7385, depending on what I'm doing.
Wow. Well, that's some fun, happy side effects or bonuses besides the whole gut straightening out thing.
I agree. And I have now my husband taking it, and that's helped him. My sister just left. She was here visiting and just left, and she had the opposite of me, where she couldn't get regular bowel movement. Okay. And I'm like, try this. And she was here for 2.5 weeks, and she took some with her because it made her regular. Really? She's like, I'm going every day.
That's incredible. I have heard, that's really good to hear. I have heard stories, there's some people that struggle with that, and I wasn't sure if it was helping them, and so I wasn't quite sure to recommend it, because, you'd think that if it's good for those of us that go to the bathroom too much, that maybe it wouldn't be good for people that struggle with constipation, but obviously it's regulating, helping your gut get back in balance so that it can function like it needs to.
And that's what I told my sister. It has to, I told her, this is supposed to regulate. So if it's regulating me, it should regulate you. She's like, sure, okay, I'll give it a try. And for the 2.5 weeks she was here, after a couple of days of her taking it, I don't remember how soon though, but, after a few days, she's like, hey, I'm going to the bathroom every day.
That's just incredible.
I'm like, great.
That's amazing. Because that's no fun to struggle with that either, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Yeah, she tells me that that's just as painful.
Uh-huh. I know, I used to struggle with that before I got ulcerative colitis, and it is very painful. Sometimes we feel like when we're in the bathroom all the time, we wish we had the other problem, but then once you get there, you're not sure.
My sister lives in Puerto Rico, so what she did, she took some with her, and she comes to visit me quite frequently, so she's kind of like stocking with me and then taking it with her.
Well, they actually just started shipping to a lot of countries. I need to get the whole list. It's quite a few, but I'm not sure where all it is, so I'm a little bit hazy on that. So I'm curious, how long have you been on it now?
Close to 2 months.
Okay.
And will not leave the house. I will not go traveling without it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. Well, thanks a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to share? This was an incredible story, and I really enjoyed listening to you tell it again. I think I learned more than from your email, so.
Like you said, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
I can only speak of my experience, and when it comes to my sisters, a little bit she told me. I am extremely happy with the results. My experience is that this really helps. Now, the way I take it is I'll sprinkle it over fruit. I do take about 2 to 3 tablespoons, heaping tablespoons a day.
Okay. That's interesting because that you take 2 to 3 tablespoons. That's about what I do, I think, per day. Because sometimes I think those of us that really have bad guts need a lot. And so sometimes people are only taking, 1 or 2 capsules a day and they're like, well, we don't see anything. And sometimes those people obviously need to take a lot more. So I don't guarantee that it works for everyone. Obviously, it's not a cure-all, but I think especially with gut issues that it definitely has a lot of healing potential. So, yeah.
I agree. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Something to add, as I'm taking 2 to 3 spoonfuls a day, my sister was only taking 1 spoon.
Okay.
A day, and that worked for her.
Right. And I think, too, with her problem, it'd probably be wiser not to take as much as well, from what I've gathered with some other people I've talked to. So.
And another thing that, if you don't mind, I wanted to add is my diet did not change. I changed nothing about my diet. I've already been careful with sugar just because being a type 2 diabetic.
Right.
Although I'm overweight, I'm very conscious of what I eat. The only change in my diet was adding colostrum.
That's just amazing. Well, that's good to know. It's good you added that in.
I'm a believer now.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes, when you have that personal experience with it, it just takes it to a whole new level. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, especially after you've had such a negative relationship with restrooms.
Exactly. You're very happy to say goodbye to that.
Yeah, because people think it doesn't affect, it doesn't affect you and it's not that big of a deal, but it does. Emotionally, it affected me because it was hard. It's like my family wants to do this, and they have to do it they used to have to do it according to how is my gut doing this day. Right.
And it does wear your body down, and it wears you down mentally. People might think, oh, it's just bathroom trips, but it's definitely a mental game with it as well that just wears you out.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
All right. Well, hey, thanks a lot again. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And like I said, I had to say something because the difference was so big.
Yeah, it's like you got your life back.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Jesus. Yes, I did.
Praise God. I just love hearing stories like JoAnne's, and there's more stories like that as well. I'm going to have links below if you're interested in checking out the colostrum. I hope you all have a wonderful day and stay healthy. We'll see you. Bye.